East 10 Nordics. This game has a parry, so it makes it into parry review. So let's get into it. You parry by pressing the guard button at the last moment. And in the options menu, the guard button is not called the guard button. It has some other name, like the duo button or something. Point is, that's the button you press at the last moment in order to parry. When you parry regular enemies, an emphasis on regular enemies because it's different when you parry bosses. But when you parry regular enemies, just press the attack button soon after the parry, right after the parry, you press the attack button and you'll do a riposte, you'll do a counterattack. The counterattack does like way more damage than the average attack. It also does more damage than your special attacks or your magic attacks, whatever it is those attacks are called. The parry does more damage than all of those. And that's all great, and I love that. But when you parry bosses, you can't counter them. And they don't get staggered either. The regular enemies get staggered, and you can counter them. But the bosses, all that happens when you parry a boss, and it's not bad, it's pretty good when you parry a boss, but all you get when you perfect parry a boss is you get your magic back. Basically, the blue things on the right side on the screen, those little blue rectangles, those are your magic meters or your power meters. You use those to do special attacks. And when you parry a boss, it refills like half or like 4 of those little bars and you can do special attacks. But you can't counter the boss and you cannot stagger him either. You simply just parry and negate damage and get energy back. Now, East 10 Nordics. The first 30 minutes, I was loving this game. Loving it. I was like, oh, I can parry? And I saw on YouTube as well, there's like a dodge thing. I haven't unlocked it yet. I'm only like 2 hours into the game. And there's like a dodge counterattack. If that does exist in this game, because I'm not sure, I just saw something on YouTube. Who knows if it's real or not, but there's supposed to be some kind of dodge counterattack. I don't have access to that yet, so you're not going to see that in this review. So I was parrying, blocking and loving this game. But then after the 30-minute mark, there's kind of like a lot of walking. And I don't want to shit too hard, because this game allows you to skip all the cutscenes. You can skip all the yapping, which is great. But just kind of like a bit too much. This is where the RPG element of East starts turning me off. I've played all of the East games. Well, no, I played 7, 8, 9, and 10. I've played all of them, but I haven't passed a single one. And it's because the games, in a nutshell, are good, but the RPG element, I just can't deny the fact that the RPG elements of this game turn me off. And something that RPG games do is that they make you, like, be in town. Hey, you're in town. We're in the town. Time to talk to people. Or stuff like, hey, go visit Cassandra in her house. She has some armor for you. All of that is the lull of the game. It lulls you to sleep. I don't like any of that. And East is the type of game that has always had that type of thing in it. And it turns me off, because if the combat in East is already good, if they would just forsake all of that RPG nonsense and focus on the combat even more, make this game nothing but combat, we would have a masterpiece on our hands. But as always, like every other East game, I enjoy it in the beginning, and then I drop it for something else, because it's boring. It's kind of boring. The game itself is not boring, guys. Understand what I'm trying to say here. It's the RPG elements that just like make it stale. It makes the game get stale quicker than it should. Like, the game has a parry, it has a counterattack, but instead you're like walking around town. I also really wish I could counterattack the bosses. Maybe the parry doesn't have to stagger the bosses. I mean, I can't complain. It does give you energy back, and if you can't, since you can't counter the boss, you can at least unload a bunch of special attacks on them, and that's fine. The red attacks, you can't parry the red attacks. There's like red unblockable attacks. All you have to do is hold the block button and you'll enter the duo stance with your ally, and you will block the attack. But note that you cannot be attacking. You have to just hold the block button and not do anything else, or else you will take damage from the red unblockable attack. Okay, let's give this a rating. On the parry metric, let's go with a 7 out of 10. It negates damage, it staggers regular enemies, you can counterattack regular enemies, and for the bosses, you can't stagger them, you can't counter them, but you get energy back, so that's good. So that's a 7 out of 10 on the parry metric. And on the fun and enjoyment scale, 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 for East 10 Nordics. This game is obviously above mid. It is a good game, but it is a good game that could have been great. And that is my problem with this game. East is a long-standing franchise. It is quite famous. Lots of people know it, and they should be making the most out of their combat system and not obsessing over RPG elements and oversaturate. Look at the combat here. It looks cool. Look at this game right now, this boss battle. This game looks objectively cool when you look at it. But then, whenever you're not fighting, whenever you're out of combat in this game, it's like, you just want to fast forward. Oh, there's naval battles now in this game. There's naval battles. You get on a ship and you get into naval battles. I could not care less about the naval battles. Who cares? Why did they add that to this game? So there you go. Thanks for watching, take care, and enjoy.